Hey everybody, I want to do a quick update of my Benjamin Marauder. I believe I did a review of it about 5 years ago. Now I've had it for a good long while, and I want to touch on some of the finer points. So getting right into it, this is stuff that you can't necessarily read about or absorb from pictures or specs on the internet, so that's how I like to try to keep my reviews. I don't have any fancy editing or anything like that, but hopefully some useful information anyway, even if I'm a little bit windy. The bolt handle. I really like this design. It sticks out far enough. If you have gloves on, you'll be able to grab it no problem. It doesn't have anything sharp to abrade your fingers if you're not wearing gloves. And it has this flat spot right on the back so that when you're chambering the pellet, you can push right on the back of the bolt. It's even got a little dent there for your thumb. And you're pushing directly right on the back of the bolt. That's really is a nice feature. I've always liked that about it. If you push on the knob, you're kind of torquing it a little bit. That's probably fine, but you don't need to do that. You can kind of pull back. I usually pull back towards the inside by the bolt, and then I push in by the bolt. So just decock it there. The action smoothness, it's very good. It's a little noisier than some, not quite as smooth as a Compado, for example, but it's very good. Nothing to complain about. The factory adjustability, this is one thing that on this gun, it is just unrivaled. I shouldn't say unrivaled because you can't adjust it in the field. You can't just pick 3 power settings. You can't just vary it infinitely, anything like that. But you can tune it. And they make it so that you can tune it without taking the gun apart. I think you do have to take the action out of the stock to tune the trigger. However, to tune the way the hammer works on the valve, all you have to do is take out this plug here. It's just a standard hex wrench. Just take that out, and they even give you a degassing tool. You can screw that in there, put an Allen wrench through the hole, twist it, and then you can degas it. And there, you can also put one of 2 different size Allen wrenches in there, and you can adjust, you can tune the action. And they tell you how to do it in the manual, so it's a good gun for a first-time PCP shooter if you can spend the money. And it's also tunable, so if you want to tune it down for super high shot count, you can do that. If you want to tune it up for maximum power, you can do that too. And I don't think there's any other gun that offers that, especially, for a company like Crosman Benjamin to tell you that you can tune it and then tell you how to do it. They're so liability sensitive with their lawyer triggers and everything. I'm surprised they did that, but it's awesome. It's a great feature. If you like to be able to work on your own rifles, this one is easy to work on. The stock, you probably noticed this is a beautiful aftermarket stock. I forget who did it. It's a guy from South America. I bought it secondhand, so I don't know. But this is a first generation Marauder. You can probably tell by the fact that it says made in the USA here. And some of them were notoriously bad, but this one seems to be great. The only thing I had to do to get it to shoot at its best was just not tighten this the shroud nut on the end of the barrel down all the way. You want it to be just a little bit loose, I think when you tighten it down all the way, it presses the shrouds against something, and I don't know what happens, but it shoots noticeably better if you just leave that just a little bit loose. So the stock was the wooden stock, and it had your wrist canting a little too far forward for comfortable shooting from a bench. It was okay, prone. Most field positions it would be okay, but if you're shooting from the bench for dozens and dozens of shots, not good. So I replaced it, and now it's like a perfect PCP rifle to me. Filling the gun. This is another nice thing about this. Most PCP air rifles that have an air tube like this, they'll have like a hole in it and then something to cover the hole, and then you have to keep track of a fill probe, and you have to mate the fill probe to whatever you're filling it with. But with the Crosman, they give you this nice threaded cap, and it might be a snap-on now. I know it is for the Marauder pistols, but nice threaded cap, and the Foster fitting's right there. So basically the fill probe is built in. Nothing to lose. Awesome. I can't imagine why more companies are not doing that. And also, while we're at it, a lot of companies will put the pressure gauge right there, so that you kind of have to, almost be pointing the gun right at your head to see it. But Benjamin/Crossman, they put it right there underneath the stock. So, it tends to be, you would want to hold it a little further forward because it's a little front heavy, so then you're not holding it up by the gauge. But even so, it's recessed in there, so you're not going to be, smashing down on it. So good location for the pressure gauge too. Also, the factory tune, I mentioned earlier, you can tune it however you want, but the factory tune is to shoot from 2500 down to 2000 psi. The air tube is big enough to have 30 good shots on a 177, 30 good shots from 2500 down to 2000 psi, and then pumping up to 2500 is pretty easy. So if you're already kind of on the fence about whether you want to spend this money and get into PCP, at least you don't have to worry about buying a scuba tank and maybe a compressor later. It's easy to hand pump, so just get this with a decent hand pump and you'll be okay. I went with the Hill pump, which was kind of expensive, but at the time the Benjamin pumps did not have a good reputation. I think they've probably improved that now. Accuracy has been great. On a good day, I'll get 1/2 inch 5-shot groups at 50 yards. On a normal day, maybe 3/4 to 1 inch, and I don't get perfect bench rests either, and I don't get to shoot on perfect windless days either. So under 1 inch at 50 yards you can get all day long, and on a good day with the right ammo, 1/2 inch 5-shot groups. Speaking of the right ammo, it likes Crossman Premier Heavy, the ones in the brown box that all come from the same die. The Crossman Premier Domed Ultra Magnum they're pretty much the same pellet, but I don't think they're all from the same die lot. They're not quite as consistent. So, but you can get those at Walmart, so that's one thing in its favor. But the 10.5 grain Crossman Premier Heavy, those are the ones to get. And you should probably lube them too. What I did was look up Google the recipe for Whiskcombe honey, Whiscombe honey, and that's what I use. Just I put a little bit on the sponge in my pellet tin, and then you put some pellets on top of the sponge, shake it around, and just a little bit of lube on them. And because with the Crossman pellets, they're a lead antimony alloy, and they will foul your barrel if you're shooting them at. These will shoot this on the stock tune. This shoots them at 875 feet per second. That's about 18 foot-pounds, and it'll foul your barrel if you don't lube them. Otherwise, if you want to just keep looking around till you find the good pure lead pellets by JSP, H&N, until you find what it likes, then you can do that too. But I found they didn't quite shoot as well. The ones I haven't tried yet, I haven't tried the Air Arms Heavies, and my compadre really likes those. So I'll try those next in this, and hopefully they'll beat the Crossman Premier Heavy, so I don't need to lube anymore. And the main thing about this gun is really impressive. You can spend, $1,200 to $2,000, get a top of the line Day State or Rapid Air Weapons for $2,200 or whatever they're going for now. But dollar for dollar, I don't think you can beat a Marauder. It gives you that consistency. You don't have to worry about hold sensitivity like you do with spring guns. So you have some consistency there. You don't have recoil, so it's not as sensitive about the resting. So you have all the PCP benefits. But at only $500, that's like just I guess you can get a good spring piston air rifle from one of the European companies for starting at around $300. And then, a really top quality example might be about $800, like an Air Arms Pro Sport or something. So this is kind of right in the middle of the high quality spring piston air rifles at $500. Compared to the Discovery, it has a shrouded barrel, so it's quiet without having to put anything on the end. The Discoveries are nice guns, but by the time you get a moderator on the end to make them properly quiet, they're really long. Discoveries are lighter, which is nice, and they actually have a lower fill pressure adjustment from the factory at only 2,000 psi. But they don't have magazines, they're not as quiet, the action is not as nice, the trigger is not as nice, so you do get something significantly better when you step up to a Marauder compared to a Discovery. But when you go from a Marauder up to the higher end PCP guns, you don't get quite as much more for your money. This is the top value point for me, is the Marauder or their new Armada, which is the same gun but with a more tactical stock. It has a vertical pistol grip, and the plastic is molded here. You got Picatinny mounts everywhere, and they charge an extra, I don't know, some crazy amount of money, an extra $60 or something for that. But if you like that, go for it. But the action is a good action, the barrel is good, it's quiet, it's got some nice features that even some of the more expensive air guns don't have, PCP air guns. So top value, my vote is for the Benjamin Marauder. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.